Members of the NYPD tackled yet another black man as he was on his phone and not doing anything wrong. Now, what was this black guy doing? Was he possibly suspicious looking? Was he someone that might have caused some trouble in the past? Was he doing something crazy like selling untaxed cigarettes? No, actually, this guy is 35-year-old James Blake. He's a former tennis pro, a Harvard student, or a former Harvard student, I should say, and he wasn't doing anything wrong whatsoever when one NYPD official decided to tackle him when he looked up from his phone after writing a text. So Blake said he had just answered a few questions from a writer for a tennis magazine and was texting when he looked up and saw someone in shorts and a t-shirt charging at him, splitting the doorman outside the Hyatt, an official hotel for the U.S. Tennis Association. Blake said the officer, who he said was not wearing a badge, picked him up and threw him down on the sidewalk. Okay, so why did this happen? It was random. Of course he wasn't doing anything wrong whatsoever. They did arrest him for about 15 minutes and then later they let him go with an apology. I should note that the cop who apologized to him was not the one who tackled him, okay? Although the one who tackled him is now on desk duty, pending an investigation. But he was allegedly identified by someone else as someone who was taking part in credit card fraud. He was not taking part in credit card fraud. Whoever this person was who identified him, I happened to identify the wrong person.
So let's break this down further. First of all, one guy tackled him, but it was actually 5 cops who went after him at the same time. And they were undercover, so they didn't have a badge, they didn't have a uniform. So as far as Blake can tell, he finishes his tennis interview, he's looking at it on his phone, and all of a sudden, what's lan? These guys tackle him, he's like, what the hell's going on? Then they handcuff him, and they say, you're a suspect. He's like, okay, but look, here's who I am, and I just did this interview, you can corroborate all this, right? They're like, yeah, whatever. Later, another cop comes and goes, oh, I recognize him, he is a tennis star, right? He was ranked in the top 10 in the world, right? They're like, oh, sorry, we didn't know the random black guy that we tackled happened to be famous and Harvard educated, so you're free to go, right?
Not only is he free to go, the apologies are amazing. I mean, William Bratton, who's, you know, the head of the police in New York City, is usually very unapologetic and very, very protective of the police force. But in this case, he was like, oh, this is terrible, we apologize. But it's because this guy has some power and he has some money, and if you mess with someone who has power, then all of a sudden you gotta treat him differently.
I think we have Bratton on tape.
Oh my God, I am totally sorry for that.
Okay, that's not Bratton. So what's disturbing about this story is, you know, one, as you point out, Anna, you know, there's 2 different justice systems, right? So I like that they apologized to him.
Me too.
You know, because of course they were wrong, right? But since he was powerful, all of a sudden, oh yes, absolutely, sir, yes, sir. We didn't know you were rich, sir, right? Now, if that's a random black dude and they were wrong, they would be equally wrong in tackling, even though he didn't go to Harvard and wasn't a famous tennis star.
They'd be equally wrong, but they would be much more defiant in their response. And that's the worst part. I mean, it's crazy to draw parallels between this story and the one I'm about to note. But remember, we did that story about that guy in his like 80s or something who was soliciting prostitutes, and the prosecutor's like, let him go. You know, he's got a clean record. He just wanted to have sex. It's not a big deal. You should have that same type of mentality when it comes to all people. Their age shouldn't matter. And in this case, someone's socioeconomic status shouldn't matter either. You should treat everyone the same. But of course, we know that that's not the case.
So, and the reason for that is that it's twofold. One, it's easier to cover it up if you don't have any power. Okay, so that random black dude that gets tackled the next day, he's going to make the same complaints, and it's not going to be covered by the New York Post and the Daily News, so he's going to go nowhere with that, right? And the second part of it is, and this is what we're talking about, like, it's not that people are malicious, and the cops in this case, who happen to be all white, you know, tackled him, were thinking, let's go get black guys. No, they were looking for the real guys who were doing this credit card thing, and they were in the area, and they had arrested another one, right? So, but in the back of their mind, everybody makes a decision. Is this person like me, or are they not like me? So when the old guy gets arrested for prostitution, the judge is like, let him go, right? There, but for the grace of God, right? Well, even in the Dylan Roof case, the judge immediately says, oh, I feel so bad for his family.
Yeah.
Right? We should, you know, and so we should feel bad for his family because he can relate to him. When it's a Muslim guy, they can't relate to him at all. They're like evildoer, Guantanamo, etc. I don't want to get on that rant, but a lot of times and that's why they do Black Lives Matter, right? Because if your name happens to be Blake and you're famous, then your life does matter.
Right.
But if you're a random black dude, your life doesn't matter as much because they can't relate to you.
Yeah.
Because they haven't lived your experience. So if you told a white guy, hey, they're tackling random black guys in the middle of Manhattan in fancy hotels, they say, oh, you're crazy. There's no way they're doing that. Because in their experience, that's never happened to them. And they think that can't be the case.
Yeah.
And so when black folks say, no, it happens all the time, because I know, because I lived it,
Yeah.
you know, that's where the disconnect is. And so maybe if it's a famous tennis star, you realize it actually does happen. And so, by the way, what is the correct thing to do here? And this is important. It's not for the police to not investigate the credit card fraud. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're actually going after identity thieves. I'm thrilled to hear that.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace, considering the drug crimes that they go after constantly.
Right, and I remember when identity thief stole my identity a long time ago. Now, this was different in a place and a different time, but it was Miami, and they laughed at me. They laughed me out of the police station. Like, like we would ever find an identity thief. So we're not against the policing. We're in favor of the policing. But here's the right way to do it. And I'm not nitpicking here. Mm-hmm. Surround the guy if you want.
Yeah,
right?
I love that you brought that up. I'm like trying to remember what I wanted to say, and that's exactly right. Why is it that they had to tackle him from the get-go? Like, they didn't even give him a chance to respond before that one cop tackled him and the others were surrounding him. Just try to talk to him at first, and if he starts becoming hostile, then you can handle it in a different way.
So we're not being naive. I get it. Sometimes they run, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When you catch a criminal and you bust him, he's going to run. Surround him. Be ready. Be prepared.
Yeah.
But don't tackle random dudes.
It's amazing.
Right? And again, you know if he was a 55-year-old white guy in a suit, no way in the world they tackle him, no matter how much he looks like the suspect.
Right.
Right?
Also, it just goes to show you how shoddy, witness testimony can be. Right? Like in this case, someone pointed to him and said, oh, that's the guy. I mean, come on. How often does that happen, by the way, where they identify the wrong guy? It happens quite a bit.
And by the way, that's another part of us having issues with our perspective. For a white person, it's harder for them to tell black people apart. It's based on studies. Black people have a harder time telling white people apart, right? And so, guy goes, that kind of looks like him, right? And boom, you tackle him. And so that happens time and time again. This is not the only time the New York police have done this, by the way. They also went after Cephalosha, who's a pretty good basketball player. They broke his leg.
Jeez.
And he was out of the playoffs. It was actually super relevant to the NBA playoffs.
That's unbelievable.
Did he do it? No, he didn't do it, but he was black in New York.